Disrupting the MA English Thesis, Using Autoethnography to Explore Culture and Identity in Advanced Literary Studies. I'm Marlon Harrison, narrating on behalf of co-authors Shanita Mitchell, Jay Meadows, and Odessa Ogo. Many student researchers approach the MA English thesis with an expectation to recapitulate an author-evacuated, pseudo-objective literary analysis. It's what they've been taught. We argue that while such an approach is key to the development of literary scholars and the hallmark of our field, the introduction of additional methodologies, in this case autoethnography and narrative inquiry, can stimulate innovative work while supporting significant transdisciplinary and critical self-awareness. I'm Marlon, a PhD in English who has been supervising MA English theses since 2015 and advocating for more experience-centered research methods. During my own PhD, I was introduced to autoethnography as a way of exploring cultural phenomena via the lens of lived experience. In a recent publication, I explained, I continue to recommend and explore autoethnography as an alternative to typical genres of author-evacuated writing. I find that autoethnography is particularly effective at helping professionals better understand reflectively and critically their professional identities and experiences. Holman Jones and her co-researchers outlined 4 characteristics of autoethnography: purposefully commenting on, critiquing of culture and cultural practices, making contributions to existing research, embracing vulnerability with purpose, and creating a reciprocal relationship with audiences in order to compel a response. They continue by explaining that autoethnography can serve 5 purposes as a method: disrupting norms of research, practice, and representation, working from insider knowledge, maneuvering through pain, confusion, anger, and uncertainty, and making life better, breaking silence, reclaiming voice, and writing to write, and making work accessible. Next, let's meet 3 MA thesis autoethnographers and learn how they used autoethnography to interrogate literature, power, and identity. Marlon asked Jay, Shanita, and Odessa, what was your initial expectation for the thesis project before learning autoethnography? Hi, I'm Jay. I wanted to look at the way that women inside of an oppressive patriarchy perpetuate the state with their actions, a simple close analysis of literature. I'm Shanita. I expected to do a traditional literary analysis using critical race and feminist theories on a postmodernist work of my choosing. And I'm Odessa. I imagined a thesis-driven literary analysis that was heavily supported by the works of various scholars, what I had been doing in my previous courses. What was your initial reaction when learning about autoethnography? I didn't trust the concept. I have been well-conditioned by academia to form and express my opinion, but also erase the identity and experiences that informed said opinion. I questioned whether the resulting piece would be a viable piece of writing that was worth the time investment, particularly for me as a Black academic. It was not playing by the rules and standards that have been clearly outlined for me. Did I need to gift the world of academia with one more reason to discount or discredit me? I was skeptical that the inclusion of my own personal experiences was valid, and concerned that including them would make my writing appear less academic or scholarly. I spent a lot of time researching autoethnography, looking at its foundations, and reading examples from a variety of fields. My advisor asked, what if you were inside The Handmaid's Tale? My immediate response was that as a gay man, I would be dead. After pushing past that original thought, one phrase bounded through my head. I am Offred. I knew immediately once I understood autoethnography that I would be able to not only explore Gilead, but also the dystopia as myself, and not only as a scholar. How did you use autoethnography to explore culture and/or identity in your thesis? I likened myself to a handmaid and explored the mirrored relationships between my identity and that of Offred throughout the novel. I used autoethnography as a means of textual intervention, asking myself what pieces of my life were the most applicable to the story. I analyzed native Chamorro authors through the lens of post-colonialism, and then incorporated my own experiences as part of the Chamorro diaspora to explore identity and culture. I selected 3 texts that elicited a strong emotional response for me as a Black female reader, and explored some of the larger problematic themes, moments, and concepts within them. Once I discovered Black feminist autoethnography, I felt more comfortable stepping into the realm myself, knowing I was in the company of my sisters. How did your autoethnography offer opportunities to develop self-awareness? Autoethnography allowed me to reveal aspects of my identity that I wasn't encouraged to share using any other traditional methodology. I was able to don 2 of the most defining elements of my identity openly as a reader and writer, being Black and being a woman. I never cease being a Black woman when I read, but I have felt that it has been in my best interest to set my observations under those 2 identities to the side. I walk into spaces feeling as if I need to prove that I can fit into the academic elitism of the literary world. Autoethnography felt like an invitation to be my authentic self, and in many ways, I wasn't all that prepared to unleash myself, especially at that late point in my MA journey. My autoethnography led me to a greater understanding of myself as a human and as a scholar. I became keenly aware of some of the traumas that had yet to heal. It is a psychoanalysis of myself and the people in my past, and a social experiment in comparing myself to a highly recognizable figure, Offred the Handmaid. I have been able to come to a deeper understanding of the experiences of my ancestors and how those experiences have shaped my own. What was your autoethnography journey like? Many times, I would end up deleting a word or a phrase because it was too truthful, too raw, or too dark, pun intended. I thought about how much safer it would have been to have written the traditional literary analysis. I would have barely been present, just a whisper of me buried under theory. I have been dying to break loose of the literary canon and call out the great works like I see them. It was nice to finally admit that these texts are grating to me. Writing out my feelings about those works as a Black reader, without having to be lectured by white classmates and professors about how I'm missing the point, was priceless. It centered me, but I couldn't have anticipated how much personal work it would demand. The process was empowering, though, and I was able to create a space for my voice. I have a new lens through which to view the world, inspiring new creative ways to get the emerging writers in my classrooms to interact with texts and concepts. The most difficult part of the process was approaching a piece of my past that was not only traumatic, but elemental to my makeup as a human. Tackling the broken pieces of yourself can lead to great healing. My process of writing autobiographical reflections and looking at Bible verses was scriptotherapeutic. I found healing in digging through my traumas. It was the healing that I experienced that was the most valuable and most interesting part of my maiden autoethnography voyage. Moving forward into new arenas of performing autoethnography, it is of the utmost importance to remember that we can change the status quo of literary studies. By inserting our own lives into our research, we are emboldening audiences and allowing for greater connections to the literature that's changing the game of literary criticism. Autoethnography has opened a space in literary studies for graduate writers to break free of the strict hegemonic genre expectations and begin valuing their subjective experiences as writers, readers,